Our devices are always collecting data from us. Our location, our daily habits, our banking information, who our friends and family are. How much do they really know? We are online for an average of 59 hours a week. That's 8 hours a day. That adds up to copious amounts of personal information being farmed from our devices.
I'll buy something on Amazon, and then I'll go to Facebook or Instagram, and the ads will be equipment that is very compatible to what I just bought to try to sell me more. And so I know that Amazon is definitely selling my information to Facebook.
Where does this information go? Mainly to data brokers. Data brokers are firms that buy and sell available data and public information, but also personal information that you might believe was hidden. Search history, social media connections, and online purchases are just a few.
When I go onto a website and it says we leave cookies, I accept it. I say, okay, I agree, but then I'll go to my history and wipe out my information for the last hour or however long I was on where people I know were taking my cookies.
The biggest threat that they pose is selling the information, which is also their biggest gain. They compile all the information just so they can sell it to other companies or even outside influences.
Data brokers take that information and sell it to other companies and social media networks so that they can better tailor their content and ads to get your attention, your money, and even more of your information. It is estimated that the data broker industry is worth $200 billion a year, and there are over 4,000 data broker companies worldwide. This is a huge industry, and your information is most likely a part of it.
I don't know that you see it, that it's apparent, except for when you've browsed out the sites, when you've purchased something, in repeat purchases, or even in accessing websites and things like that. You'll start to see pop-ups from things that you've looked at before, or just general content that companies have captured your activity on. And so it can be characterized as clickbait because they'll throw the content out, or you'll see it on the website, it'll catch your attention, and then bam, you're clicking on that to navigate to the website that is offering the product that they're kind of advertising. So but they invest a ton of money in it every year. Because they're looking to make money off of you again.
From my experience, almost every single big tech organization harvests your information to some extent, Facebook being the biggest outlier, because with the Facebook application and Facebook website, they still access your camera and microphone even when you're not using your camera and microphone, and use any ad searches or searches on Facebook to then compile ads based on your preferences. It's kind of scary because you get the old saying of you thought of something or you said something out loud, and then the next day you see it pop up in ads and you're like, I never searched this.
How far do these companies go to retrieve our information? Take a minute to think about the devices we use every day. Alexa, Siri, Google Home. Are they always listening? There have been theories about our webcams secretly taping us, our phone calls being recorded, and even our emails being saved. But how much of that actually occurs? As it turns out, Alexa home devices collect the most data out of any other home assistant. Google Home and Siri now need your permission to record and collect your information and interactions, but Alexa records by default. Some companies do have the ability to see and collect our emails and calls. In 2013, a former FBI agent claimed that 1.7 billion domestic phone calls and emails are recorded daily by the National Security Agency. Bulk collection no longer happens within NSA, but they still have the capacity to collect what they want from target individuals.
Oh, it's worth billions to them. So you tell me how far somebody would want to go for billions and billions of dollars worth of information. Zuckerberg and Jack and the CCP on TikTok. This is all super important to them to track us. their algorithms and AI are getting better and better at tracking and connecting dots of who we all are and our connections. You and I text you, you text me. They have access to my phone because I agree. And so they basically know our daily routines. And with location services, everybody says, you know, can I use location services? You say, okay, because you think you're finding a store near you or whatever. No, they're tracking us.
Yes and no, it generally depends on the person. If you value your privacy to an extent and don't want anyone to do it, there's no way to not have your information out there. If you are concerned, the best way to not have it out there is to not have social media or have a social media account that has no personal information in it.
What can we do to stop it? We do have the ability in some capacity to limit the amount of our information that's collected and sold. However, it does come with a cost. There are websites such as Delete Me and PrivateDuck where you can pay to keep your data private and out of the hands of data brokers. Delete Me starts at $129 a year for their services. If you're not willing to pay for a yearly service, there are some tips and tricks to at least limit how much of your information is out there. These tips include avoiding unnecessary home devices that collect a lot of information, disabling cookies from being collected when you're browsing online, and limiting what sites and apps you put your debit and credit card information into.
And I could get VPN services that absolutely give me private search windows and stuff like that. So we can do that, you know, and not spend a lot of money. You know, $15 a month for a VPN service. But many of us just don't choose to spend that $15 a month.
You can always potentially open up a browser session incognito or in private mode, which is going to limit some of the access that companies would have to your information. But in general, I think we're so used to technology now that people take a lot of this stuff at face value.
Well, at this point, it's not a terrible threat to us. But should there be a national emergency, say like a pandemic, where people are being mandated to do certain things, they can know exactly where you are. It's happening in Australia. They're tracking people who have no COVID vaccine, and they know exactly where they're located. And if they leave the areas where they say you can be, they're being arrested.
There's also a heightened risk of hackers out there trying to gather that information also. So, I mean, if a company has 141 million records, you know, of people's personal information, or, you know, however, you know, a billion records, there's a lot of information that's sitting in repositories now that companies have collected over the years. I mean, that's a gold mine for somebody who can get their hands on it. And so not only do you have your personal information that is held by this company, but there are also other people out there that are looking to get their hands on this information.
How far are they willing to go to get information? Like, what is the stopping point, which overlies, especially in America, where is the boundary between the constitutional rights of privacy with companies? Because if your information is always available to them because they're only a private company, then it's just a whole legality issue.
I would say yes, that everybody should be concerned about any personal information that they have kind of floating around out there. I mean, because that's a potential risk. Just anybody could exploit that. So
the exchange of data has now become a natural part of our lives. Because of the technology that we have created, adapted, and grown to need, we will have to accept the trade-off that at least some of our information will be out there. But does that mean we have absolutely no control? No, it doesn't. There are options available to protect our data, and as we start to become more aware of how much of ourselves is out there, the better we can discern how we use our technology.
Yeah, we're already at the Big Brother stages of information. 1984, George Orwell, we're being tracked.